r/anti-work. Anarchist 23 says. Ceaseless demands of consumerism. Included photo. Thismalagamblis says. Purchasing a mind-altering substance which requires a complicated supply infrastructure and distribution system in order to be purchased for money is anti-consumerism. Responsible War 917 says. You can grow enough weed for your entire extended family for about a $400 investment. Changlin says. Additionally, some of the most valuable music, media and creative products that have ever existed under consumerist capitalism were created by people who were high AF. Livid Leader 3061 says. So false. Anyone with munches will buy and eat the contents of every store in a 5-mile radius. And yes, I know they won't be asked to walk there, that's what delivery companies are for. Squirt_mem says. Ahahaha totally bro. You're not a pothead, you're a rebel, you're fighting the system by mindlessly consuming media and food while sitting at home. Shoot the glitch says. This is the most juvenile weed, is so cool shit. Golden Vite 30-12 says. I saw Jack in the Box run a marketing gimmick for over 20 and actually thought it was brilliant marketing. Honestly, more fast food type places and snack manufacturers should lean into marketing toward marijuana users now that the subject isn't as taboo anymore. Of course, they would look like filthy hypocrites, since most of them probably still drug test their hires for marijuana. But since when have they cared about being hypocrites? Guacamolepinus says. Bullcrap. Rolling paper, clippers, munches, music. This is all consumerism, not to mention the fact that a lot of stoners make rats a part of their identity and so go out buying shirts, bandanas, stickers, and other merch. Toxie37 says. Never a bad idea to get stoned. Except when I get stoned I sometimes find myself buying shit online. r/anti-work. Smugda just says. When I was working we used to call them personal days. Included photo. Ranger Moni 2012 says. In Europe, first world nations, we have 30 of these and numerous public holidays each year. Even suppose third world countries have these personal days. Angry drunk bureaucrat says. Anal glaucoma, I can't see my ass coming to work today. Smugda just says. It's sick day as in sick of work day. Most bot Sarabud says. Hey, I have Monday off. And I had New Year's Day off. That's it so far this year, I think, but still. Spookisaj Howl says. I've been told they are mental health days or personal days. Alavin says. I'd go to work sick, so when I called in they'd believe me, no questions asked. One day was the same as 1 week, so frick 'em. Zan61 says. I call them mental health holidays. Actually gives your body and mind the rest it needs to keep from getting sick and being out for days later. I have my work caught up beforehand, so I don't stress then call in sick. Sick about it. F1 Gmast 3R says. I'm taking a mental health day. Fluffy Butt Lulu says. In Australia, this is, indeed, what sick days are for. Dewey Defeats Truman says. Chances are you've heard of people calling in sick. You may have called in sick a few times yourself. But have you ever thought of calling in well? It'd go like this. You get the boss on the line and say, listen, I've been sick ever since I started working here, but today I'm well, and I won't be in anymore. Tom Robbins, even cowgirls get the blues. Cortade says. I did that last week. I had a 3-day weekend and I extended it to 4 by calling in. Finished a lot of projects around the house. Literally, Hitler says. My work has never once yelled at or demeaned an employee for talking their personal time. All the time we hear comments like, hey, just a heads up, I won't be here tomorrow, I want to head up north to enjoy the weather, or hey, I just bought tickets to the game tomorrow, so I will be out. Literally nobody cares. We staff 3 extra people every shift so that we can cover for stuff like that. And being the extra usually means 11 hours of free pay, because usually you have no actual work if everyone shows up, plus it's work from home, so almost like a paid day off. This is the main reason I have never considered leaving them. They looked at the issue of not having enough people and realized the added cost of making sure there was always enough far outweighed the cost of not having one of us do our jobs. At my first job ever, I tried to call out because my mom was in the hospital and they told me no. That feeling of being afraid to ask for time off carried on for the next 15 years before I got my current job. Even when I got here, it was still almost 2 years before I would take advantage of the opportunity to take a day off for even being sick. Tomorrow I'm literally going to leave halfway through shift because I want to take my kids to the river to go swimming. r/anti-work. Gomedman24 says. Great message to send employees who already make below a living wage. Included photo. Errol_Moore says. They could have just said employee drinks are free of charge when you use your own cup. They could have made it a we care about the environment thing and made it a positive policy to save the world, but no, passive-aggressive missives are the order of the day. Gomedman24 says. In case you couldn't tell, these are unpleasant people running this place. Ranger Moni 2012 says. Bring a massive 2-pint cup. Gomedman24 says. Lol, not mine, but I'll pass that along. Gomedman24 says. Not my picture, but someone I know. The place in question, a popular coffee/food chain, pays their employees as little as they are legally allowed to and are still more expensive than other locations very close by. And now employees are being scolded for doing something as little as getting a drink, which costs the store pennies. OK Panic 3940 says. Attention employees, due to a shortage of respect and dignity, the 1-cent cups you urchins are using is more valuable than you are. Bring your own drinking vessel from your hovel, or we will be forced to implement further demeaning and degrading measures. Govern yourself accordingly. Naive_special 349 says. Proceeds to bring a 1-liter cup. Blizzard King 94 says. They will be taking away free drinks regardless, you can bet on that. Revolutionary Earlier 2833 says. So the solution should have just been to issue everybody cups with lids, likely a wide-bodied bottle. Because the way they worded this and done this is inconsiderate. But people throwing away cups can add up and cost, and more importantly the unsanitary clutter as people leave everywhere. OK Expression 5613 says. Assuming this is a fast food or movie theater type operation, the actual beverages cost them next to nothing. The cups are a much bigger expense. Egmidas says. I think you should bring increasingly stupid things from as cups just to be a shit. For example, a trophy, a mixing bowl, one of those movie theater cups with a giant Hulk glove to hold it, a vase, generally things that would distract everyone around you if you ever actually drank from it. r/anti-work. Furioff first says. Do yourself a favor and Google the Ludlow Massacre. In 1914, coal miners in Colorado got sick of 14-hour 7-day work weeks and their children being forced to work with them. So they led a massive strike called the Coal Wars, fought off the National Guard, and changed everything. Included photo. U_paid_for_this says. Henry F0RD1 vented the 8-iter W0 arcade no he, frick, I did not. People fought and died for an 8-hour day, they were literally murdered for asking not to have to work 14 hours. After the fight was over, after the trade unionists and socialists and communists had won basic rights for workers, Ford came along and said, I was totally going to reduce the working day to 8 hours, if you hadn't fought for it. In fact I would've done it sooner, if it weren't for all those trade unionists that I had to murder first. Raw_Bird0 says. Ford, Americans' favorite Nazi. Ryan0988 says. That's what the fascists wants us to get back to. This is their goal, have poor kids go back to work instead of going to school. X-Monk says. Yup, and now we are trying to legalize child labor again. Thielo Fringe says. I actually agree that this should be taught and spoken about more. I learned about it through research into other topics, but it's something that definitely isn't taught about in schools in the US. Most points of view mentioned the labor for a basic workday were peacefully made. No. There was murder, blood and fighting for it. They don't want you to know that corporations would kill to keep their influence and power. Spread the word. Don't_ban_this says. Don't let them take your guns. Greed John Unchained 90 says. And they were fighting for their labor hours to count regardless if it was coal mining or preparing the coal elevator for the day. Shinnidragon Mist says. Vival our evolution. Wardy says. What I find really disturbing is Wikipedia states the Ludlow Massacre was a part of the broader Colorado coalfield war. I'm not American, so I clicked the link out of ignorance and curiosity. It turns out it was a year of violent strike breaking. To label it as a war is some class war bullshit. Drukis says. I mean, it's the National Guard. OK Perception says. Then we have those dullards voting to put children back in mines and roll back labor protections. And they truly are cattle wallowing in the fesses of their own ignorance and demanding to be put on a throne for their virtue. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.